I'm Ali, and welcome to my new Booktube channel, State of Mind. So, I'm gonna start with the newbie booktuber tag, and I'm gonna start with that because it seems appropriate for my first video. So, without much, let's just get into it. First question numero uno. Why did you start this channel? I'm gonna make a movie reference or a trailer movie reference. I will do that occasionally on this channel, so fair warning. Reference to a Justice League trailer that came out during Comic-Con. Barry Allen said to Bruce Wayne, "I need friends." And not to say that I resent the friends that I have. No, I adore my friends, I appreciate them, but they just don't read as much as I do, and I want to meet more people who read as much as I do, or who read more than me, or who read less than me, or who read about average. I want to meet those people. I want to get to know them, see what they read, find out if they like the same stuff as I do, and if they do, what do they think of it, what's their favorite things about a certain book, things like that. I want to meet people and make connections with those people and get together and just like have fun and read, which is like almost like a book club, but not a book club. So I want to meet people, make friends, and connect with people on different parts of the globe. So that's why I started this channel. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Alright. Most of the booktubers I watch, and I am subscribed to, they are English majors. They're in college and they're English majors, or they have some sort of career in the book making process, or some are hoping to get into the book making process. I'm different. I'm not an English major by any sense. I am actually a mass comm major. I am a mass comm major with a concentration in film, which I know can be a little bit controversial because people are like, oh, film, the movies ruin the book. And although that is true for many things, but there are some exceptions. Some movies were just as good as the book, but until then, it's always going to be that the book was better than the movie, and I'm not here to debate that. That's something that I know everyone knows, and it will always remain true. But eventually there will be an exception. So that's something different. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm excited to again meet people from different places, from everywhere, and I'm excited to meet the people who have read the same books that I have, or who read different books, and maybe the people who read different books and recommend books to me, and I in turn can recommend books to them. I'm excited to meet people who love the books that I love, and I'm excited to meet even the people who hate the books that I love. That way I can hear their opinions and their viewpoints on why they hate /and/or love the books that I love. So I think that's one of the reasons. And that's probably another reason why I started BookTube. Next question. Why do you love reading? I love to read for 3 reasons, which I will try to keep short. One of the reasons I read is for entertainment. I mean, we've been doing it forever. Like, our ancestors used to read books to keep themselves busy, to keep themselves entertained. So I think that's one of the main reasons. Like when we didn't have Netflix and chill, and we didn't have internet or TV or movies to entertain us, we read, and that's why I still read, is because it's another form of entertainment that we tend to run to when we don't have anything else to do. So that's one reason why I read. Another reason I read is for the escapism, and I just read it to go and travel and to new worlds, to different places that I've never been to before, and real places that I might visit one day. But I read to see the past, or see the present, or see the future that looks very scary and you hope never actually comes true, and or even visit worlds that don't exist at all. This quote definitely reflects one of the reasons why I read is because you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. And that is exactly why I read, and that's the Walt Disney quote that's in Disneyland and just before you enter the Magic Kingdom. And it definitely applies to why I read, because reading can take you many places, and because reading can take you many places. And that's just the second reason why I read. The final reason why I read is to become a better writer. I'm a writer, and occasionally I hit some bumps on the road, and I read to help me get over those blocks and get over those bumps that I keep hitting, and to see how authors mold their characters and how they create worlds, and just how they are able to put it all together and cleverly make a really great plot. And I read to get better at writing is my final answer. Next question. What book or series got you into reading? Okay, so I have a few, but I'm going to start with this little expose first. I go through reading hills or mountains, is the way I see it, is that I will start reading little by little, and then I will get to a high point, and at my highest point is the best book I've ever read, and then slowly I'll go down. I'll still be reading, but not as much, and then I'll hit those points where I read, stop, and then I never get back up again until I find that book series, and I get back up on the hill and I find another book series and come back down. And it's just a long cycle, and that's just me, how it works for me. And the books that have been on top of those mountains and or hills, the first one being this one, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the book series, and the Heroes of Olympus. And this one really got me into reading. I found it at a Ross store, discovered this book at a Ross store when my mom and I were shopping for it, for clothes or something. Read 3 chapters in the store, was immediately hooked, and I asked my mom, can I have this book? And she's like, do you have money? And I'm like, no. And I was sad because I knew she was going to say, then you can't have it. And I didn't find the book until much later on when I was a librarian's aide, and ever since I've been hooked on this book. And this book is actually originally not mine. It belonged to someone else. Why they gave this up, I don't know. Very good question. If I ever find this person, I can't even read the name on it, but this book looks like it's been through a lot. It's been to Tartarus and back. Perfect reference right there. Or in this case, this specific book has probably been to Hades and back. But yeah, it's tattered, torn. Well, that means the book is well loved. The last 2 books that really got me into reading, I don't know. One of them is entitled A Study in Charlotte, a Sherlock Holmes novel. And it tells the story from the point of view of Jamie Watson. And Jamie Watson is the great-great-grandson of Dr. Joan Watson. And he leaves the United Kingdom and comes to the US to a boarding school, and he meets his counterpartner, Charlotte Holmes, the great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes. And this book was intriguing, it was the best, and they go off, and these two, they're teenagers, and they come together and solve a murder, and it was just a great book, and I just loved it. It's definitely perfect for any fans of Sherlock, the TV show, the movie, the other TV show, Elementary. It's perfect for those fans, and I am a fan of all 3 of them, and I loved it to pieces. And it's supposed to be a trilogy, but I want the author to write more than just 3. I need more. And I hope she goes on to write more than just 3. But the final book that really got me into reading and A Study in Charlotte kind of got me over a reading slump too. But the final book that also got me into a reading slump was out of a reading slump and actually motivated me to start a booktube. Well, both A Study in Charlotte and this book encouraged me to start a booktube was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I read this book my freshman year in college, my second semester here at college, and I was just hooked. Like, Kat was going through the same things I was going through, like registering classes, not going to, like, spoiler alerts for small tidbits and spoiler alerts for people who haven't read it, but she was scared to go to the cafeteria. I was scared to do that too. Like, I was afraid to go into the cafeteria because it seemed like a system, and she was going everything that I was going through, and I felt for her. And I read this book twice in 2 weeks, and I still love it. And even though this isn't mine, I hope to get a copy soon. So, next question. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I guess I would ask how you would do it. How do you do it? Many of the booktubers I watch go to college and have jobs, and here I am. I don't have a job, but I am in college, and I'm occasionally on film sets, and they keep us anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. And I want to know how they are able to balance both college, their jobs, and booktube. How do they manage to have so many balls in the air and manage to keep going? And if any booktuber out there is willing to share some advice on their tips and tricks of the trade, happy to have them, please, because I will need a lot of help. And okay, so next question. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I don't read fast. Like, I'm not a fast reader, but I'm not a slow reader. I read somewhere in between, like moderate speed reader. And depending how great the book is how fast I'll read. If it's great, like amazing, best book ever, I will speed on right ahead. But if it's great but not amazing, I will read moderately fast. And if it's a book that I've read before, I will either read it slow or I'll read it fast. There's no in between. And the reason I just spilled that all out is because I know a lot of booktubers who do their wrap-ups at the end of the month have read 9-10 books, and me, I have just October finished a few weeks ago, and I have only read 3 books that past month. And to be frankly honest with you, I've read 3, but I'm not done with the 3rd one yet. So did I read 3? Did I read 2? I don't know. I'm almost there. But I think one of the challenges that I'll have is not reading as many books as other booktubers. So if you stick with me, please bear with me. I will get there. I will eventually be able to read multiple books in 1 month. Alright, next question. When did you start reading? I started reading in kindergarten. Like, as soon as they started teaching us to read, I read. I kind of got sick and tired of the cat sits on the mat, the dog is, I don't know where, I don't know where the dog is, but you know, those little short sentences that were like 3 or 4 or 5 words in a sentence, I kind of got tired of it. And once they taught us to read, I kind of took off. And I remember in kindergarten, our librarian had chosen 4 students from the kindergarten classes to be, and I being one of them, to be in a book club, a school book club, and I was part of it, and I thought I was the coolest kid because I was in a book club and everyone else in my class wasn't. That's how awesome I felt, and I was like on cloud 9 when I was like 5-6 years old, and I loved being part of it, and I've been reading ever since, and I hope to keep on reading forever and ever and ever. I read anywhere. anywhere I can carry a book with me, and anywhere I can have my phone with me, because I will occasionally read books on my phone. Or I will put my book in a bag and I will take it with me and I will read. So the final question is, what kind of books do you like to read? And I would like to start off being frankly honest with you that I read. The only series that I shy away from reading, the only genre I tend to shy away from is horror, the horror genre. And that's probably because I can't watch scary movies, so I can't read. That would mean that I can't read scary books. So that's something that I tend to shy away from, but anything else I'm open to. I'm open to anything from adult fiction to young adults. I tend to steer more towards young adults, but as the question might be stating, like, what specific genre would I read? I don't have one. I tend to be what I'm calling genre blind. I will pick up a book if it intrigues me, if the following three things are good. If one, it has an interesting title. Two, if it has a really intriguing book cover. And three, if the inside flap or the back of the book is good. It's like, it gets me intrigued to read more about this book that it leaves me asking, what do you mean this happens, and what do you mean this? Like, it gets me asking questions, and I want to know the answers, and the only way I'll get them is if I read it, if I read the book. Those are the three things that must be, that two out of three have to be checked off for me to actually physically pick up the book. So I judge a book by its cover, not gonna lie. Most of us tend to do it, and I try not to do it. That's why I have a checklist of three things, and two of those things must be checked off for me to pick it up. And so I'm genre blind, and I have read many novels, but I've read everything from sci-fi to historical fiction to fantasy. I've read everything in between. Or I try to read everything in between. I'm not saying that I've read every genre. I'm saying that I will read anything. So I'm open to any suggestions that people might have. That being said, I hope you guys stick around, and thanks so much for watching. And I'll see you on the next one.